Sarah was 16, awkward, and invisible. At school, the it crowd glided through the hallways like royalty, while Sarah shuffled along behind them, clutching her books and her bag of trinkets. She loved old things: vinyl records, Polaroid cameras, pocket watches. To her classmates, that made her weird, a nerd, an antique in a world of glitter and selfies. One rainy Saturday, she ducked into the market at the edge of town. The air smelled of damp fabric and dust. Amid cracked teacups and warped records, she saw it. A small brass lamp, dull but strangely heavy, like it had been waiting for her. She bought it for £3 from a man who didn't even meet her eye. That night in her bedroom, she polished it with the corner of her sleeve. The brass warmed beneath her hand. Then smoke poured out, thick, greenish, coiling like snakes. It filled the room, and from it stepped a figure, tall, elegant. A smile stretched too wide across his face, and his voice, oh, his voice was velvet cut with blades. 5 wishes, little collector, the genie whispered. 5 gifts of my craft. But beware, words are sharp, and they cut both ways. Sarah's heart pounded. 5 wishes, 5 chances to be someone. I wish people would notice me, she blurted, without thinking. The genie's eyes gleamed. So be it. The next morning, as Sarah walked into school, every head turned. Whispers rippled down the hall. She felt a thrill until the laughter started. In the bathroom mirror, she screamed. Her nose stretched long and crooked, almost comical, like a cruel caricature. No one could ignore her now. The genie's voice hissed from the mirror glass. Unforgettable, aren't you? You wanted notice. Now, none can look away. Tears streaked her face as she stood before the lamp that night. Fine, she said. You tricked me, but I know what I want now. I want to be beautiful. Beautiful every day, forevermore. The genie's grin split his face like a crack in porcelain. Every day, forevermore? Such a delicate request. Granted. In the morning, she was radiant. Her skin glowed, her hair gleamed, her eyes seemed lit from within. At school, mouths dropped open. Even the it crowd stared in awe. For the first time, she felt like a goddess. But when night fell, Sarah's beauty withered. Her skin sagged, spots erupted, her teeth loosened and dropped into the sink. Her reflection became monstrous. She sobbed, clutching her decaying face, until dawn broke and the beauty returned. The genie's chuckle coiled around her bed. Beautiful every day, Sarah. But did you think the nights would spare you? Shaken but greedy for escape, Sarah clenched her fists. I want to be rich, she demanded. Rich beyond anything I could imagine. The genie bowed. Riches beyond your wildest dreams, as you command. That evening, Sarah's phone rang. A voice told her that her aunt, her uncle, her grandparents, all had perished in a sudden fire, a freak accident. By morning, lawyers were at her door with papers, bank accounts, properties. She was the sole heir. Millions sat in her name. Sarah sat at the table, papers spread before her, hands trembling. She couldn't stop crying. The genie's whisper slid across her ear. Could you have ever dreamt their graves would glitter with gold? Wealth beyond dreams, child, yours alone. Grief twisted into rage. You won't break me, she spat. I wish I had power over them all, power above everyone. The genie threw his head back and laughed. Thunder split the sky. Lightning poured through Sarah's veins. At school, fluorescent lights burst when she entered. Her hair crackled with static. Phones died at her touch. When she reached to comfort her mother, sparks leapt from her hands and seared her skin. She became untouchable, feared, alone. The genie's voice boomed inside her skull. You command the lightning itself, Sarah. What greater throne is there? By the fifth night, Sarah was hollow-eyed, trembling. Her nose mocked her in the mirror. Her body ached from the nightly decay. Her riches sat untouched in piles of grief. Sparks danced endlessly across her fingertips. She fell to her knees before the lamp. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "I wish to be free of you. I wish I was free forever." The genie bowed, low and slow, smoke billowing around him. "Granted." Her body unraveled, strand by strand, dissolving into smoke. Her scream stretched into silence as she was sucked into the lamp, her voice joining the eternal hum inside. When the smoke cleared, the lamp gleamed on her desk, innocuous as ever. The genie's smile lingered in the air, and faintly, from within the lamp came Sarah's broken whisper. "5 wishes, little mortal. Speak with care." Cav was 43, and though he worked in town and preferred the warmth of a pub to the bite of the wind, he spent most of his weekends down at the allotments. Not for his own sake, mind you. He was there for his dad. His father, once a proud gardener with the kind of green fingers that could coax roses out of gravel, had grown too old to keep up with the digging and the weeding. His knees clicked like old hinges, and his back had all the bend of a rusty nail. Still, the old man loved the place. He loved the birdsong at dawn, the smell of damp earth, and most of all, his rhubarb. Enormous crimson stalks that he swore were the best in Birmingham. Rhubarb crumble had become a family tradition. Cav, his mom, his dad, and a dollop of custard on top. But lately, something was wrong. Each time Cav turned up, more of the rhubarb had vanished. Stalks pulled, roots disturbed. At first he thought maybe foxes or some greedy pigeons. Then he saw the neatness of the cuts, the little spade marks in the soil. Someone, someone, was taking it. "That rhubarb's our life's work," his father muttered, his hands trembling around a flask of tea. "What kind of thief steals another man's crumble?" Cav promised to fix it. The problem was, Cav didn't know much about gardening. His dad would talk about mulching and rotating crops, and Cav would nod politely, none the wiser. So when he got home, he turned to the one place he always did when lost: the internet. He ordered a bundle of fruit plants, apple, gooseberry, blackberry, all sorts that promised easy growth and suitable for the English climate. And in his eagerness, scrolling through the late-night gardening forums, he clicked on something else, something he didn't understand. A plant called giant hogweed X strain. The description was half in Latin, half in marketing bluster. Fast-growing, hardy, thrives anywhere. Sounded perfect. 2 days later, the box arrived. Shrink-wrapped saplings, roots damp with straw. Cav hauled them to the allotment, determined to surprise his dad with a new orchard. But when he got there, he froze. More rhubarb had been taken. Whole clumps dug up, the ground ragged and raw. His dad's pride and joy disappearing inch by inch. Cav's jaw tightened. "Not on my watch." He went to a hardware shop and came back with animal traps. Metal jaws meant for foxes. He set them up around the patch, careful to disguise them under leaves. Then he got on with planting. He dug, sweated, cursed when he hit stones. Into the soil went the apples, the gooseberries, and finally, the mysterious hogweed. Its roots were thick, black as coal, and when he handled them, his hands prickled, though he put that down to nettle rash. That night, his trap caught something. A scream split the dark. Cav hurried back with a torch and found the culprit. The man from the next allotment, Mr. Briggs, rolling on the ground. His ankle was clamped in the trap, blood soaking into the soil. Briggs had always been the competitive sort, forever boasting about his carrots. And now, it turned out he'd been sneaking into Cav's patch, stealing rhubarb for his own table. "You daft thief!" Cav shouted. But before he could call for help, he noticed the soil moving. The hogweed. Its stalks were rising, twisting unnaturally, leaves stretching towards the wounded man. The earth pulsed. The roots drank deep of Briggs's spilled blood. The plant shivered as though waking. Cav stumbled back, horrified, as the hogweed doubled in height before his eyes, its jagged leaves shimmering under the torch beam. By morning, his father's allotment was unrecognizable. The rhubarb beds, the neat rows of beans, all smothered beneath a jungle of hogweed. Thick trunks, taller than a man, mottled with strange red veins. By evening, it had spread further, swallowing neighboring plots, and when night fell, it fed. First a pigeon, snatched from the air, wings shredded in the foliage. Then a cat, curious enough to nose between the stems. Then a neighbor who leaned too close over the fence, vanishing with a single wet crunch. Cav returned 2 days later, and the sight froze him. The allotments were gone. So was the street behind them. Every lamppost strangled, every pavement cracked with roots. The hogweed towered over houses now, and in its leaves hung the remnants of creatures and people, bones bleached pale. The air reeked of sap and rot. Panic spread in the town, but nothing could stop it. The council tried streamers, fire, even a digger. The hogweed simply grew around the machines, crushing them in its coils. Cav bought the strongest weed killer he could find, lugging it in cans to the site. But when he sprayed, the hogweed lifted its roots like legs and walked past the poison. Walked, as though mocking him. It was smart, and it wanted more. Cav sat in his car that night, head in his hands. He thought of his father, of rhubarb, crumble on Sunday afternoons. He thought of the blood in the soil, the way the hogweed had thrived on it. And then, a terrible idea bloomed. The plant wanted blood. If it took his blood, poisoned with weed killer, maybe it would die. He bought one last bottle, the strongest he could find. He drank it, gagging, his throat burning like fire. Then, staggering, he walked into the hogweed. The stalks bent down to greet him. Leaves curled around him, thorns piercing his skin. The plant devoured him whole, and then it stopped. The hogweed writhed, spasmed, shriveled. Its roots blackened. The monstrous canopy sagged and collapsed, filling the town with a stench like burned celery. By dawn, all that remained was a wilted heap of pulp steaming in the cold air. Cav never came out. But people remembered. The story spread. A man who gave his life to save his city. The Hogweed Hero, the papers called him. Even Gardener's World ran a front-page tribute, and the Horticultural Society named a new hybrid after him, Cav's Glory. It wasn't rhubarb crumble, but it was something. And in the quiet of the abandoned allotments, where the soil still whispered, a tiny green shoot poked up. Just one. The five of them walked single file down the muddy track, their boots crunching against frozen earth. The Lake District hills were shadows in the distance, sharp black teeth against the moon. A wind rolled off the fells and slipped cold fingers down the collars of their coats. Lisa led, always the determined one. Behind her, Claire grumbled beneath her breath, every second step a complaint. Sam carried the lantern, its orange glow bobbing between them. Kelsey clutched her coat tight to her chest and kept checking over her shoulder as though something might be following. Elizabeth walked quietly in the middle, saying little, her eyes darting across the tree line. The silence between the girls felt heavier than the night air, as if none of them wanted to speak of the real reason they had come. "Tell me again," Claire hissed, her teeth chattering. "Why are we even doing this?" "You know why," Lisa shot back. Her voice was steady, but Elizabeth noticed the way Lisa's hand trembled against her scarf. Claire scoffed. "I don't buy into this witch nonsense. She's just some old fraud taking money off tourists." Elizabeth agreed. "She's not a fraud," Kelsey whispered quickly. "They say she knows things no one else could know." "Like what?" Claire challenged. Sam finally spoke, her voice low as if naming anything out loud would make it real. "Like where the dead are, and how to call them back." The group fell into silence again, boots crunching, breath misting. At the bend in the track, the cottage appeared, squatting low under a roof of moss, its chimney coughing thin smoke into the night. One window glowed faintly, the light too dim, too thin, as if it had been burning for centuries. Elizabeth slowed as they approached. The air seemed to change here, grow denser. She could smell damp earth, herbs, and something faintly metallic, like rust or blood. Lisa raised her hand and knocked. She hadn't even touched the door a second time before it opened inward. A woman stood there, tall, straight-backed, her black hair streaked with silver. Her skin was the color of old parchment, lined but strong. Her eyes, pale and sharp as steel, flicked over the girls one by one. "You have come," she said, her accent rolling, old as the stones beneath their feet. "I've already got your 5 seats ready." The girls exchanged looks. No one had told her how many of them would be arriving. Inside, the cottage was dim, smelling of wax and burning sage. Heavy curtains drowned the windows. Jars of dried herbs, feathers, and unnameable things crowded every shelf. A round table sat in the center, already laid with candles and a shallow bowl of water. The woman moved behind it without asking their names. "I am Madame Daciana," she said, "and I know why you are here." Sam clutched the lantern tighter. Then you know who we want to speak to?" Daciana's mouth curved slightly, but it wasn't a smile. "The drowned one," Claire swore under her breath. "How did you—" Lisa began. The gypsy lifted her hand and silenced her. "Sit, all of you." Elizabeth slid into the chair between Kelsey and Sam, folding her hands in her lap. The candles flickered as though acknowledging her. "You must understand," Daciana said, her voice low and steady. "This is no parlor trick. To summon the dead is to disturb the water. Once ripples begin, you cannot always stop them. Do you still wish to proceed?" The 5 friends nodded, some slower than others. The gypsy dropped herbs into the water bowl. Each hissed and curled smoke. She began to chant, a language that flowed like river water, but cut like knives. "Place your hands upon the table," she commanded. They obeyed. Fingers brushed one another. The air grew cold enough that their breaths smoked white in the candlelight. "Close your eyes," Daciana said. "Think of her. Think of the one you lost. Call to her." The girls hesitated, then whispered all at once. "Come to us, Elizabeth. Please come." Elizabeth stared at them, confusion welling. "I'm here," she said softly. "I'm already here." But none of them looked at her. Their eyes stayed shut, their lips murmuring. The water bowl rippled. Candles bent as though a wind had passed through the room. Lisa's eyes brimmed, though they were still closed. "Please," she whispered. "We didn't see you go under. We didn't notice. Forgive us." Claire clutched the table. "We should have been watching. We should have stopped it. Forgive us." Sam's tears rolled unchecked. You were gone so fast. We didn't even, God, we didn't even know you were gone until it was too late." Kelsey's lips moved, barely audible. "I'm so sorry. Please, forgive me." Elizabeth's breath hitched. "Forgive you? For what?" she said desperately. "I'm right here. I've always been here. But still, nothing." Madame Daciana's eyes fixed on her. "She is with us," the gypsy intoned. "Closer than you think." The bowl of water darkened, rippling though no one touched it. Shapes formed beneath the surface, blurred at first, then clearer. Hair drifting in black water, eyes closed, skin pale and blue as frost. Lisa sobbed aloud. Claire turned her face away. Sam whispered the name again and again. Elizabeth leaned forward, staring into the water. The drowned face staring back was her own. Her stomach hollowed, her throat closed. She tried to push back from the table, but her hands wouldn't move. The gypsy's voice cut through. "She is here," she said again. "The one you seek, the one you abandoned, the one who waits beneath the lake still." Elizabeth's voice came out a whisper, panicked, breaking. "But I'm not dead. I'm right here with you, aren't I?" Daciana's eyes softened just for a moment. "Child, you have been with them since that summer day. They carry you because you never left the water. You are the one they call." Elizabeth shook her head. Her friends were weeping, begging forgiveness, but not looking at her. Never looking at her. The gypsy leaned closer. "Speak if you wish them to hear. Tell them your name." Elizabeth's lips trembled. She forced the word out. "Elizabeth." The name rippled through the room, heavy as stone dropped in water. Lisa cried harder, almost collapsing against the table. Claire gasped. Sam covered her mouth. Kelsey whispered the name like a prayer. The candles sputtered and died, plunging the room into darkness. When one flame caught again, the chair between Kelsey and Sam was empty. Only 4 girls sat at the table. Madame Daciana's expression was unreadable. "The drowned one has heard you. Whether she forgives, that is hers to decide." Lisa clutched Claire's hand. Sam rocked forward, whispering through her tears. Kelsey sat frozen, pale as paper. And Elizabeth? She was gone. Her voice lingering only in the ripples of the water bowl, fading until there was nothing left but silence. Moira keeps her coat on. She always does. The flat smells of old tea, damp carpet, and the plastic heat of the electric fire. "Morning, Mr. Hargreaves," she says, putting an egg mayo sandwich on the table. "Like you asked yesterday." "I asked yesterday for yesterday," Hargreaves says, wheeling into the lounge. "Today is today, fools." Moira doesn't bite. "Let's swap your chair battery. You ran it flat again." "I ran it because my legs won't," he says. She goes to the charger. The cable is warm and kinked. "Don't touch that," he snaps. "That's mine. I'm just," and drop the tone, he adds. "The one for dogs that ruin rugs." Moira's face tightens. "I don't use that tone with you. I use the one for people who need help and won't say it." "You're paid to do what I don't want," he says. "Do it and be quiet. Fools." "Kettle on," she says evenly. 2 sugars. I don't want sweet tea. You always drink it. Not because I want it, because people like you don't listen. She opens the fridge. Milk a day over, a bruised apple, a few pills he hid from the blister pack. "We need a shop," she says. "There's nothing wrong with the milk. You sniff like a rat." She brings the tea. She sets the sandwich closer so he won't have to stretch. He slaps the sandwich. The plastic tears. Egg mayo slides onto the table. The smell is loud. Moira flinches once. "There," he says softly. "Now it smells like you." Moira wipes the spill in 2 firm strokes and covers the mess with a napkin. Then she strips off her gloves and puts them in her bag. "That's me done," she says. "You haven't finished. There's 20 minutes left." "I'm not finishing," she says calmly. "Not with you." He laughs ugly. "Walk out then. Join the others. Fools." She zips her coat. "Strange thing," she says, glancing around. "Sometimes this place smells like hot dust even when your radiators are cold." She shrugs. "Goodbye, Mr. Hargreaves. Don't come back." "I won't," she says, and she doesn't. The flat is very quiet. He watches the estate through the window, a dog dragging a man, a pram, a parcel van. He lasts 1 day on tins. On the second day, his phone rattles. "New carer starts this evening," says the agency voice. 6 and 10. "Post me a pair of gloves," he says. "Save the wage." A pause. "Her name is Elaine. Please be decent to her." He hangs up. The left wheel gives 1 dry squeak. "Fools," he tells the room. At 6, the key safe clicks. The door opens. Wet pavement and lemon cleaner breathe in. "Mr. Hargreaves?" a woman calls. Soft Midlands voice. Even. Not tired. "In here," he says, making it a threat. She steps into the lounge without fuss. Dark hair pinned back. No jewelry. A pale ring scar on her thumb. She sets a canvas bag down and pulls on gloves. The sound is soft and clean. "I'm Elaine," she says. "I'll come at 6 and 10. I'll make sure you're all right, do the jobs, and leave you in peace. That's the deal." I decide the deal. She has already seen everything. Charger light, missing pills, egg stain, the fake flames. "Tea?" she asks. "No." "2 sugars," she says, and goes to the kitchen anyway. The kettle clicks. The strip light blinks once. A cold tingle runs down the back of his neck, like a draft that means something. He rubs his neck, irritated with his own skin. His elbow nudges the TV remote. The screen wakes as a hard white square before a picture forms. He looks away. Elaine brings the tea. "You're pale," she says. "Moira left you?" "She walked out," he says, waiting for judgment. "She did," Elaine says. "I asked for your visits." "Why? You like being called names?" "I like work that needs doing. Drink." He drinks. The hot sweet steadies his hands and he hates it. "Medication," she says, holding up the blister. He refuses. "All right," she says, and doesn't write anything. She checks the kitchen and bathroom in a quiet circuit. On the fridge is a zebra crossing magnet. The white stripes are worn. Her eyes rest on it an extra second. "Anything before I go?" she asks. He opens his mouth to say, "Fools," but the flat changes first. The fridge hum climbs like an engine trying to catch. The strip light flinches. The air smells like hot dust on the first cold day. "Do you smell that?" he asks. "I do," she says softly. The tingle on his neck sharpens, like something walking. He turns because the far corner feels heavy, as if it's drawing breath. A boy is standing there. School jumper, chewed cuffs, hair sticking up at the crown where a hand would usually smooth it. Eyes too bright for the dim. In each pupil, a tiny coin of white light. Hargreaves forgets to breathe. The boy just looks at him, waiting. "What is it?" Elaine asks, watching Hargreaves' face, not turning yet. "Don't," he says, and the room goes white. Not a flicker. A flat, clean white that fills everything. Flash. When it clears, the corner is only paint. Hargreaves sucks air, metal taste. Elaine turns then. She takes in the empty corner and his hands trembling on the chair. "Do you see people sometimes?" she asks. "When you're tired?" "There are no people," he says. "Bad wiring, that's all." "Bad wiring," she agrees. At 10 she returns. He has not moved. He is afraid of the corner. She makes tea. Her phone torch blips. She cups it at once. Sorry, that's bright. Don't flash that thing, he snaps. She nods. No lights. The TV wakes itself. The hard white square fills the screen. Then the picture returns. The tingle crawls over his scalp. The room holds its breath. The boy is back. Not right this time. One pupil drags like spilled ink. His mouth sits a little to the left. The jumper is torn in a way that says force. The room goes white again. Flash. Emptiness. A sharp pain bites Hargreaves in the chest and lets go. Elaine kneels, checking he's still here. People who aren't there, she says gently. It happens, especially when we aren't sleeping. I don't sleep. I can tell. Try. He doesn't try. Days start to feel like the same day. 6 and 10. Tea. Pills he won't take. The trolley of small tasks. Between visits, the flat plays the tricks. Kettle hissing itself dry. Bathroom light whining. Left wheel squeaking once with no push. Fridge hum rising and falling like a car idling. The boy appears more. Sometimes he is only a boy. Tie crooked, scab on the knee, cheap metal car in his hand, driving it across the air with a quiet brum sound boys make. Sometimes he is the other way. Wrong angles, wrong eyes, arranged by something in a hurry. Every time, neck tingling, smell of hot dust, then white. Flash. Hargreaves starts talking to him. Don't stand there, he says. That's my corner. Another time. That's my chair. One afternoon, tired, I didn't see you. The boy tips his head, listening to something far away. Elaine works and doesn't react to fools. She tells small stories while the kettle boils. Fog on lanes, apples that make your gums ache, buying plasters because the ones in the kit never stick. She doesn't tell stories about boys. One evening, while she wraps a bandage around his shin, he asks, "Do you have children?" "I did," she says. "How many?" "One." "Boy or girl?" "Boy." "How old?" "10," she says. Her hands are steady. He wheels to the window, looks through the half-closed blinds. A car turns. Headlights sweep the curtains in 2 clean bands. The tingling rises. The hot dust smell thickens. "Do you smell that?" he asks. "Always before," she says. The white hits. Flash. The boy is behind her shoulder now, not broken. Just a 10-year-old holding a toy car with both hands like it matters. The chrome catches a perfect white dot. "Don't stand there," Hargreaves says, and the boy looks at him like boys do when adults make no sense. Elaine doesn't turn. "Tell me about the road," she says softly. "There was a fox," he blurts. "That's what happened." It ran out. The road was unlit. There was glare. She fastens the clip. "We tell ourselves things so we can carry them," she says. "Everyone does." He wants her to argue. She only puts the kettle on. While they wait, she says, "I knew a woman who stood in a road and felt her boy's hand go light." "Don't," he says. She told herself for years he didn't feel it, Elaine says. She told herself the driver didn't see. She told herself he was already gone before the lights reached him. He makes a small, low sound. "Tell me to stop," she says. "Stop," he says. Then, "No. Go on." She told herself those things because the truth was too sharp to hold. The tingling begins again. He knows the pattern now. He grips the chair arms. The belt across his lap feels like a memory. "Tell me your name," he says suddenly. She turns her plastic badge. It has flipped backward. She shows the letters. Elaine Carter. The name hits the room like a dropped pan. Far down the estate, a car turns. 2 pale bands sweep his curtains. The white comes. Flash. Not a faulty bulb. Not the TV. Clean and total. The last thing someone sees when headlights fill the world. In it, The boy is both things, the child he was and the child made wrong. Then the white fades, and he is only a boy, close and out of reach. He lifts the toy car. The chrome throws a thin line of light. "Please," Hargreaves says, not knowing to whom. Pain closes fast and hard around his chest. He tips forward. The lap belt catches. The chair rocks. The left wheel gives one dry squeak. Elaine is already kneeling. Her palm finds the center of his chest. She knows the rhythm. She doesn't start it. "Not fools," she says. "Not anymore." On the TV, a road safety clip autoplays with the sound off. Dash cam view of a crossing. Headlights swell until the screen is all white. Hargreaves understands. He has been the flash in someone else's life. He is sorry, but time doesn't move backward. The white takes the room from him. Elaine keeps her hand in place until his body goes slack. She says a small thing to the air that may be a prayer or nothing. She looks up. The boy is there. Only a boy now. Hair refusing to lie flat, crooked tie, scabbed knee. "Go on," she whispers. He does. He isn't pulled away. He is simply gone. The room lets out a long breath. The plastic flames flicker. The bright dot fades from the toy car. Elaine calls an ambulance and says the necessary words: address, situation, time. While she waits, she sets things right. She washes the mug. She turns off the fire. She picks up the die-cast car from the carpet and sets it on the mantel where a photo would go. The paramedics come. They are kind and quick. They do what can be done, which is not much now. They take him away. The flat is noisy for a moment and then very quiet. Elaine looks at the zebra crossing magnet. The white stripes are worn. She flips it upside down. It pleases her. She rubs the pale ring scar on her thumb once and puts her small first aid kit back in her bag. Outside, the estate strings its tired lights. A car turns. Headlights sweep the curtains. The light crosses her face and is only light now. She locks the door and leaves. The chair rocks once, as if someone brushed past. The left wheel gives its single dry squeak and then is quiet. On the mantel, the toy car holds a faint shine and lets it go. Far away, on the road that leads to the A415, other cars go by. Their lights are just lights. Until they aren't.